Mara Whitlock ran through the cratered battlefield, her boots splashing in black oily water that steamed from the heat of destroyed engines. Explosions shook the ground, throwing dirt and sparks into the air. Smoke stung her eyes, and the acrid smell of burning metal made her cough, but she did not stop. She had a mission: save whoever she could. A sudden high-pitched wail cut through the chaos. Mara froze, scanning the twisted wreckage. Beneath the shattered remains of a starfighter she saw it. A figure barely moving, limbs tangled, body glowing faintly with blue veins. The alien soldier's skin shimmered like wet metal and long, thin fingers twitched uncontrollably. No one else noticed him. Everyone was running, hiding, or shooting. Without thinking, Mara sprinted toward him, dodging falling beams and sparks. The ground trembled under another distant blast. She reached the alien kneeling beside him. "You're safe now," she whispered even as her heart hammered. Her hand hovered above his glowing arm. For a tense second, he flinched violently, thrashing as if to strike, but his eyes told a different story. They were intelligent, wide with fear and pain. She grabbed his hand anyway. The alien froze. His gaze locked on hers and a strange, almost musical hum escaped from him. Mara's fingers brushed against something embedded in his chest, a small, pulsing device she had never seen before. It glowed brighter at her touch, as if reacting to human contact. Mara's mind raced. What is this thing? The wail returned, louder now. Enemy drones hovered above, scanning the battlefield with red beams of light. Mara could see them approaching, their metallic wings slicing through the smoke. If they spotted the alien, or her, there would be no second chance. She needed a plan fast. She scanned the wreckage. Nearby, twisted metal sheets formed a half-collapsed wall. She grabbed the alien under his shoulders and tried to lift him. He was heavier than he looked, every movement sending sparks from exposed wires on his body. He groaned, a low vibrating sound that felt like a warning. Mara gritted her teeth. She would not leave him here. A sudden explosion shook the ground beside them, sending shards of debris flying. Mara yelped, ducking instinctively. The alien let out a burst of light from his chest device, illuminating the wreckage with a blinding blue glow. Mara shielded her eyes, surprised. The energy pulse knocked a nearby drone off balance, sending it crashing into a smoldering fuel tank. A small fireball erupted, and the alien whimpered, holding onto her for balance. "Easy, easy," Mara murmured, pressing her hand to his chest, feeling the warmth of the pulse. "He's scared. So am I. But we can do this." She dragged him toward the wall, using every ounce of strength. His fingers twitched in sync with hers as if guiding her. She realized he was not just injured, he was alive in a way humans rarely understood. His body seemed to respond to intent, to touch. Another drone spotlight cut across the rubble. Mara froze. The alien's chest device pulsed again, subtly, creating a faint shield that shimmered across his torso. "He's protecting us." Mara couldn't hide her surprise. "He trusts me, or he chooses to trust me." Then came a sound that made her stomach drop, a deep, guttural roar from the edge of the battlefield. Mara turned just in time to see a massive, spider-like creature emerge from the smoke, its multiple eyes reflecting fire. Its long, spindly legs crushed debris with ease. Soldiers were screaming in the distance as the creature advanced, ignoring them entirely. Mara realized it had been hunting them all along and now it had noticed her. She tightened her grip on the alien's arm. "We need to move. Now." The creature's mandibles clicked in anticipation. Sparks from its body illuminated scars across its exoskeleton. Mara did not wait for fear to paralyze her. She ran, dragging him behind her, using the smoke and rubble for cover. Every step was agony, every breath a struggle. The alien suddenly twitched, emitting another high-pitched note. Mara froze mid-stride. A beam of blue light shot from the device on his chest, carving a path through debris to block the creature's advance. The shield held just long enough for her to pull him behind a collapsed fuselage. Both of them panted, hearts hammering. Mara looked down at him. His eyes met hers again, this time calmer, almost grateful. She pressed her hand to his, whispering, "You're safe now." For a heartbeat it felt true. But then the ground rumbled beneath them, louder than before. Mara's stomach dropped as a massive shadow passed overhead. Something big, something alive, was moving fast toward them. She realized that helping this alien might just have put them in the center of a far larger danger, one she could barely imagine. And then, a loud metallic crunch behind her made her spin. The wall she had counted on for cover was giving way. Dust and metal rained down. She barely had time to shield the alien before the world turned to chaos again. Mara's breath caught. This is only the beginning. Mara's lungs burned as she dragged the alien through the smoke-choked ruins. The air was thick with ash, metal, and the acrid smell of scorched fuel. Each step was a gamble. One wrong move and a falling beam or enemy drone could end them both. The alien's weight pressed down on her, yet she kept going. She could not leave him. The collapsed wall behind them rattled, debris shifting in ominous patterns. Mara glanced back. The spider-like creature from before had vanished into the haze, but she knew better than to believe it gone. Somewhere it was hunting again. Her mind raced, searching for shelter, escape, anything. Ahead, she spotted the wreckage of a supply transport, half buried in dirt and fire. It could offer cover, but moving the alien there would mean crossing an open stretch of battlefield. Her pulse quickened. Enemy patrols could appear at any second, and drones still hovered above, scanning for life. She hesitated only a moment before deciding. Mara gritted her teeth. "We move now no matter what," she whispered, pressing the alien closer. He made a low hum in response, almost like a nod. It was small, but it was trust, and that small signal bolstered her courage. They sprinted across the open ground, ducking under twisted beams and jumping over glowing cracks in the asphalt. Sparks flew from damaged power conduits, and every step seemed louder than the last. A sudden explosion erupted to their left, hurling metal fragments across their path. Mara flinched, shielded the alien instinctively, and tumbled to the ground. The alien's chest device pulsed, sending a soft blue glow over them. Mara noticed it wasn't just light, it was warmth. The pulse seemed to soothe him, slow his tremors. She realized something extraordinary: he wasn't just alive, he responded to care. Her touch mattered. Above them, a drone hovered lower, red scanning beams slicing the smoke. Mara grabbed a jagged metal sheet, raising it just in time to block the spotlight. The alien whimpered softly at the noise, then pressed his hand into hers. His grip was surprisingly strong for someone so wounded. Mara whispered, "You're okay. Stay with me." They reached the supply transport, ducking inside a torn hatch. The interior was blackened, half-melted, and full of sharp debris. Mara sank to the floor, careful not to crush the alien. She ripped a first-aid kit from her satchel and examined him quickly. His wounds were worse than she had thought: burned flesh, deep gashes, and the mysterious device in his chest embedded deep beneath tissue. "Hold still," she muttered. She cleaned a gash along his arm. He flinched, letting out a soft, musical note, and Mara froze, afraid she had hurt him. Instead, he leaned slightly toward her hand. The pulse from his chest flared brighter at her touch, bathing them in pale light. Suddenly, a metallic click echoed from the transport's doorway. Mara's head snapped toward the sound. An enemy patrol had arrived. Drones hovered above, scanning for heat signatures. Mara grabbed the alien, moving toward the back of the transport, weighing her options. Escape seemed impossible. She noticed the alien's fingers twitching again. This time they moved with purpose, almost as if guiding her. Mara didn't question it, she followed instinct. She pressed herself against the wall and crawled to a hidden exit she hadn't seen before. Outside, the ground sloped sharply downward, toward a ravine filled with steam and glowing lava-like liquid. Dangerous, yes, but at least it offered cover from drones. Mara dropped to the slope, sliding carefully, letting the alien's pulsing chest device brush against her arm. A faint blue shield flickered around him, deflecting falling debris from above. She gasped. "He's protecting us. He's protecting us." The patrol's shouts echoed through the smoke. One drone's red eye locked on them. The alien's chest pulsed again, sending a low humming vibration through Mara's hand. Sparks shot toward the drone, hitting its sensors. It wobbled, momentarily disabled. Mara seized the chance, pulling the alien faster. Then the ground shook violently beneath them. Mara stumbled, nearly losing her grip on him. Steam hissed from cracks, burning her skin. A sudden roar filled the air. She froze, recognizing it immediately. Another creature, or maybe the same spider-like hunter, was approaching. Its massive form moved with terrifying speed. Mara's mind raced. There was no time to think, only to act. She pressed the alien against her chest, his glowing veins lighting up the darkness, and ran. The slope twisted sharply, forcing her to leap over molten fissures. Sparks flew, smoke stung her eyes, but she pushed forward. A sudden flare of energy from the alien's chest illuminated the path ahead. Mara blinked at what she saw. Not far away, a shadowy doorway, or maybe an escape tunnel, gaped in the side of a crater wall. It was small, barely big enough for both of them, but it was safety. She did not hesitate. She sprinted toward it, dragging the alien. The spider-like creature appeared suddenly, blocking their path. Its eyes glowed like embers and clicking mandibles sounded like a machine calculating her death. Mara froze for a heartbeat, but the alien's device pulsed brighter than ever. A soft vibration ran through her hand. "It's ready. Trust it." Mara nodded. With all her strength she pressed forward. The alien's pulse flared again, and a shimmering wave knocked debris aside, staggering the creature. She lunged into the tunnel with him just as the creature roared and struck behind them. The sound of metal scraping, the hiss of energy, and the alien's faint hum filled the darkness. Inside the tunnel they collapsed. Mara pressed the alien's hand to her chest, feeling his pulse slow, his breathing steadier. She looked at him, eyes wide. "We're alive, for now," she whispered. The alien responded with a soft glow from his eyes, almost like relief. But the tunnel was narrow, dark, and untested. The echoes of the battlefield still hummed outside. Mara's stomach churned. This was only the next step. Something bigger is waiting ahead. A low rumble came from deeper within the tunnel. Mara stiffened. She did not know what awaited them, more creatures, enemy patrols, or something far worse. She tightened her grip on the alien's arm. "We have to keep moving," she said. His eyes glowed and he pressed his hand back into hers, silently agreeing. And then, from the shadows ahead, a faint blue light flickered, not from the device but from something else. Something alive. Something watching. Mara's breath caught. "We are not alone." The tunnel was narrow, damp, and smelled of smoke and wet stone. Mara pressed herself against the alien soldier, feeling his small body shiver with exhaustion. The blue glow of his chest device cast flickering shadows along the walls, revealing jagged cracks and pools of steaming water. Every echo sounded like danger, every whisper of movement set her nerves on edge. Ahead, the faint blue light she had seen in the shadows danced again, closer this time. Mara squinted. It wasn't the alien's device, it was something else entirely. Something alive. Her pulse quickened. She held the alien tighter, whispering, "Stay close. Don't panic." He responded with a low hum, almost soothing, and the vibration traveled through her hand. It was small comfort, but it reminded her that she wasn't alone in this fight. They crept forward. The tunnel widened slightly, revealing a chamber half-carved into rock, its walls slick with strange, luminescent veins. Mara's eyes widened. She had never seen anything like it. The veins pulsed in rhythm with the alien's chest device, and faint energy arcs jumped between them, like tiny lightning strikes. Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. Is this connected to him? The alien stirred beneath her touch. His eyes glowed brighter, and his body hummed in resonance with the veins in the rock. Mara froze watching. Then, without warning, he projected a series of images into her mind, flashes of light, sound, and color. She stumbled backward, clutching her head, nearly dropping him. At first it made no sense. A battlefield, a massive city under siege, ships exploding in orbit, strange alien armies advancing through tunnels. Then she realized he was showing her memories, or warnings, of a larger war beyond this battlefield. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a key. Something about him mattered on a galactic scale. Mara's heart pounded. A low rumble shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mara looked around wildly, realizing that the tunnel was unstable. The alien's hum grew louder, pulsing in her hand. The energy in his chest device and the chamber walls intertwined, forming a protective shield that shimmered faintly. It wasn't perfect, just enough to shield them from falling debris, but it was remarkable. Mara realized she had no choice. If she didn't help him, they both would die here. She pressed her hands to the glowing veins in the wall, feeling the hum travel through her fingertips. The alien's device flared in response. Slowly, carefully, she guided him forward, letting his instincts sync with hers. Together they moved deeper into the chamber. Then came the sound, a metallic clank echoing from deeper in the tunnels. Mara froze. Her pulse raced. Enemy patrols? Another creature? She didn't have time to guess. The alien's device pulsed violently, almost like a heartbeat. His hand twitched in hers and she understood. He was ready to act, but he needed her to trust him. Mara stepped forward, dragging him along a narrow ledge that ran alongside a chasm of molten rock. Sparks flew from the walls and the heat scorched her arms. She glanced down. The lava-like flow was fast, bubbling with strange chemicals that hissed on contact with the stone. One wrong step and they would both be gone. Halfway across, the alien's device flared again. This time, the pulse shot outward, creating a momentary force field that pushed back falling rocks. Mara realized he could control energy in a way that humans had never imagined. Her heart raced with both fear and awe. If he can do this, maybe we can escape. A sudden screech made her spin. From the shadows of the chamber, something emerged, a creature unlike the spider-like hunter from before. It had 6 limbs, segmented armor, and eyes that glowed red. It moved with terrifying speed, advancing toward them. Mara's grip on the alien tightened. She whispered, "We can't fight it. We have to outsmart it." The alien responded with a pulse, sending a wave of blue light that illuminated the creature's exoskeleton. Sparks danced across its body. It hissed, backing off slightly. Mara realized something incredible. He was communicating through energy, controlling its effect on the environment. Her mind raced. If they could combine his abilities with her ingenuity, they might just survive. She grabbed a chunk of jagged metal from the floor and held it over the alien's chest device, angling it toward the creature. The device's pulse amplified, striking the metal and creating a brief, blinding reflection. The creature recoiled, screeching in confusion. Mara's hands shook, but she kept the metal steady. The alien hummed in sync and the pulse intensified. "Almost there," she whispered. He responded with a soft glow, and together they edged toward a side tunnel illuminated by faint orange light. It was narrow, unstable, but it led out of the chamber. Mara didn't dare look back. She kept moving, letting instinct and trust guide her. Just as they reached the tunnel, the chamber behind them began collapsing in earnest. Rocks fell and energy arcs from the veins cracked, sending sparks raining down. Mara stumbled, catching herself and the alien just before a chunk of rock would have crushed them. The alien's device flared one last time, stabilizing the falling debris long enough for them to escape. They tumbled into the narrow tunnel beyond. Mara gasped for breath, sweat and soot streaking her face. The alien's hum had softened, his eyes now glowing steadily. She pressed her hand against his chest. "You're alive, we made it," she whispered. For a heartbeat it felt true. But in the shadows ahead something moved, slow, deliberate. Mara froze. The faint orange light revealed a series of strange glyphs etched into the tunnel walls, glowing faintly. Her stomach twisted. These aren't just tunnels. This place is part of something bigger. Something ancient. The alien twitched in response, his chest device pulsing rapidly, faster than ever before. Mara's heart leapt. He was trying to warn her, or show her. But what? She had no time to figure it out. From the darkness ahead, a low, vibrating hum began to echo through the tunnel, matching the rhythm of the alien's pulse. Mara's breath caught. It wasn't coming from him, it was coming from deeper within the tunnels. Something else was waiting. And then a sharp crack resounded behind them. The chamber they had just escaped wasn't fully collapsed. It was splitting further, sending a rain of debris into the tunnel. Mara yanked the alien forward, ignoring the sting of falling dust and sparks. She whispered again, gripping his hand tightly. "Stay with me. We're not done yet." The alien's glow brightened, almost like a pulse of hope. Mara's eyes narrowed. Whatever lay ahead, she knew one thing. They were stepping into something far bigger than a battlefield. Something that could change everything. And deep in the darkness ahead, the strange hum grew louder, almost as if the tunnels themselves were alive, and waiting for them. Mara's lungs burned as she dragged the alien through the twisting tunnel. The orange glow ahead promised escape, but the hum in the walls grew louder, vibrating through her chest. She pressed the alien closer, feeling his pulse sync with hers. His device flared in response to the walls, illuminating shapes in the darkness that made her stomach knot. The tunnels weren't empty, they were alive in some way she didn't understand. A sudden screech echoed off the stone. Mara froze. From the shadows emerged the 6-limbed predator from before. Its red eyes glowed, reflecting in the alien's chest device. The creature advanced with terrifying speed, mandibles clicking, claws scraping sparks from the walls. There was no way around it. The narrow tunnel left them nowhere to hide. Mara's mind raced. She had to think fast. "Stay with me," she whispered. The alien pressed his hand into hers. The pulse of his chest device quickened. Mara realized something. The device was more than a light, it could affect energy in the world around them. She had seen it shield debris, repel drones, even startle the creature before. Maybe we can use it against it now. She looked around, spotting a series of jagged metal fragments from the collapsed chamber. Adrenaline sharpened her thoughts. She grabbed a piece, holding it over the alien's device. The creature lunged. Mara steadied herself, positioning the metal like a mirror to catch and amplify the blue energy. The alien pulsed, and the device shot a wave of light along the metal, striking the creature. Sparks erupted as it screeched and recoiled. Mara ducked instinctively, feeling the heat. The pulse had stunned the creature, but it wasn't enough. She needed more time, more power, and the alien was weakening from his wounds. Mara made a choice. She pressed the alien against her chest, using her body to stabilize him, while concentrating on the glowing veins in the tunnel walls. The pulse from his device surged as she held him steady, linking their motions. The walls shivered in response. Energy arcs jumped between the veins and the device, forming a protective dome of blue light around them. Rocks and debris from the collapsing tunnel hovered in the dome, frozen in midair. The creature hesitated, snarling, mandibles clicking. It lunged again, but the dome flared, pushing it back. Mara's arms ached, sweat stinging her eyes, but she held firm. Every instinct told her she might fail, but she couldn't stop. If I falter, we're dead. Keep breathing, she whispered. The alien hummed softly, and his pulse steadied. The resonance between them grew stronger. The device emitted a shock wave, knocking the creature off balance. Sparks danced along its limbs, and for a moment, Mara glimpsed its eyes, almost like it recognized something human in their unity. But the tunnel trembled violently. A massive chunk of stone broke loose above them, plummeting toward the dome. Mara froze, then threw herself forward, dragging the alien with her. The device pulsed once more, sending an energy wave that deflected the debris just enough to avoid crushing them. She gasped, feeling the heat, feeling the alien's pulse in her palm. They were alive barely. Mara realized the tunnel was collapsing faster than she had anticipated. She looked ahead. The exit was small, barely wide enough for both of them. The creature recovered, charging again, faster this time. Mara clenched her teeth. There was no time to hesitate. She positioned the alien in front of her, his chest device facing the creature. Now, she shouted and pressed the metal fragment against the device. A massive pulse erupted, a wave of blue energy that surged down the tunnel, slamming the creature into the wall. It screeched in pain, stunned, its limbs scraping sparks from the stone. Mara seized the moment. She grabbed the alien, pulled him toward the exit, sliding down the slope with every ounce of strength she had. The dome flickered but held. Rocks fell around them, and the tunnel behind them groaned as if it were alive, collapsing. Mara's heart raced. One wrong move and they would be buried. They reached the narrow opening and tumbled into a rocky alcove outside. Smoke and dust filled the air. Mara collapsed on her knees, the alien slumping against her chest. She pressed her hand to his device, feeling warmth and a faint pulse. His eyes, once wide with fear, now glowed steadily. Relief washed over her. But there was no time to rest. The ground beneath them trembled, and the creature let out a final roar from within the tunnel, slamming its claws against the rocks. Mara's eyes widened as she realized it was not alone. Other vibrations echoed faintly in the distance. The tunnels weren't just hunting them. Something bigger, something alive lurked beyond. Mara looked at the alien. He had survived the impossible, but he was still weak. His glowing chest device flickered in irregular pulses. She realized that whatever he was, whatever war he had fled from, it was far from over. And somehow she had become part of it. She pressed her hand to his chest again, whispering, "We'll survive this. I promise." He responded with a soft hum, almost a whisper of trust. For the first time, Mara felt a connection deeper than instinct. He was relying on her, and she would not fail. The ground shuddered again. Sparks flew from a nearby broken power conduit. The alien's device flared violently in response. Mara instinctively stepped back, dragging him with her. The pulse illuminated the horizon, a faint outline of structures beyond the crater, partially hidden in smoke and mist. Structures that did not belong to any human map she knew. Her stomach turned. She realized something important. The battlefield was just a small part of something much larger. Something ancient. Something waiting for them. The alien's pulse resonated with the distant structures, almost like a beacon. Mara's mind raced. If we survive the night, the real challenge is still ahead. A flicker of movement in the mist caught her eye. Something massive, indistinct, shifted in the shadows beyond the crater. Mara's heart sank. Whatever it was watching, and waiting. She pulled the alien closer. "Stay with me. Whatever comes next, we face it together." His glowing eyes met hers, steady and trusting. And deep in the mist, something responded to their presence. An echo of the pulse, a signal that the real battle had only just begun. Mara sank to the ground, pulling the alien close. The smoke and heat of the battlefield had faded behind them, leaving only the eerie glow of distant structures and the faint pulse of his chest device. His body trembled slightly, but his eyes glowed steadily now. Relief washed over her, but it was tempered with exhaustion. Every muscle ached, every breath burned. They had survived, but the night was far from over. She pressed her palm against his chest, feeling the soft hum of energy beneath her fingers. "You're safe now," she whispered again. The words felt heavier this time, not just a promise but a recognition of everything they had endured. The alien's hum responded, rhythmic, calm, almost like gratitude. Mara allowed herself a moment to believe it. He had trusted her. They had survived impossible odds together. Around them, the crater was silent except for the distant hiss of molten streams and the faint rustle of debris shifting in the wind. Mara looked at the alien carefully, examining his wounds. Most were stabilized, though his chest device still pulsed irregularly. She grabbed strips of cloth from her satchel, binding his arms and legs gently. Every movement was careful, almost reverent. She could feel the fragility of the life she had saved, yet also its incredible potential. The alien made a soft, melodic sound, leaning slightly toward her hand. Mara froze. It wasn't language as she knew it, but it felt like communication, a gesture of trust. She smiled faintly, squeezing his fingers. "I did it. We did it." Then the ground beneath them shivered. Mara tensed. The vibrations were different this time, not a collapse, not a creature. Something else. Something alive but not immediately hostile. She looked toward the faint glow in the distance. The alien's device pulsed in response, its light matching the rhythm of a distant, larger signal. Mara's stomach twisted. She realized that the battlefield was only the beginning. The war, the threat, the reason he had been left behind, it all stretched far beyond this crater. Mara lifted her head, scanning the horizon. Strange structures rose above the mist, jagged and ancient, humming faintly with energy. The alien's pulse accelerated, then stabilized. He seemed to recognize something in those structures that connected to him. Mara's mind raced. Whatever this was, it was bigger than she had imagined and he was part of it. She pressed her hand to his chest again. "We're going to figure this out," she said softly. "Together." The alien leaned into her touch, a faint glow spreading across his body. Mara realized that even though he was from another species, even though the battlefield had tried to tear them apart, they had formed a bond stronger than fear, stronger than survival. Humanity's courage, empathy, and intelligence had given them both a chance. The first light of distant energy flares revealed more of the structures. Shadows moved among them, mechanical forms, humanoid figures, and shapes Mara could not identify. She shivered. She understood now that the alien's survival was not a coincidence. He carried knowledge, power, or perhaps even a key to something the galaxy had long forgotten. And she, by choosing to act when no one else would, had become part of that chain. The alien's chest device flared again, sending a soft pulse across the ground. Mara could feel it resonate with the stone, with the air, with her very hand. It was a beacon but not just a signal. It was alive. Something was listening. Her pulse quickened. The stakes were no longer personal, they were galactic. Yet, despite the danger, Mara felt a surge of triumph. She had chosen courage when every instinct told her to run. She had chosen empathy when the world around her was chaos. And she had survived with the alien by her side. Humanity had shone in a moment of darkness, proving that bravery and compassion could alter the course of events, even across stars. The alien's eyes glowed brighter now, soft and steady. Mara leaned closer, her voice a whisper. "Rest. You've earned it." He remained close to her, responding with warmth and faint hums. Mara allowed herself a brief moment of calm, knowing that together, they had survived the impossible. But then, a faint vibration ran through the ground again, different from anything before. Mara stiffened. Her gaze snapped to the horizon, where one of the distant structures flickered with movement. Shadows shifted in patterns too deliberate to be random. Something, or someone, was coming. The pulse from the alien's device flared in response, faster this time, like a warning. Mara's eyes narrowed. "Looks like this isn't over," she muttered. The alien leaned closer, almost as if agreeing. She felt the weight of what they had accomplished but also the enormity of what lay ahead. Whatever awaited them beyond the next horizon, she knew humanity's courage would again be tested, and she would not falter. The faint hum from the alien's device echoed, soft but insistent, carrying a rhythm that seemed to whisper of a larger mystery. Mara pressed her hand to his chest once more, feeling its warmth and pulse, and let the sound steady her. Together they would face it. And in the shadows beyond, a faint blue glow shifted, a new signal ancient and powerful watching them. The real journey, the true challenge was only beginning. Mara's heart pounded with determination, and she smiled faintly through the exhaustion. "Let's find out what's waiting," she whispered, standing with the alien leaning against her shoulder. The blue glow of his chest device pulsed stronger than ever, lighting the path ahead. The battlefield was behind them. The galaxy was ahead. And somewhere deep in the structures beyond, something answered their pulse. Something alive, ancient, and waiting.